joined by Richard Whitfield. Richard Whitfield, a Democratic candidate for Congress, or will be when he qualifies. He's going to kick off his campaign tomorrow. Talk about his bid to win the seat that is now held by Barrow County Republican Jody Hice. Richard Whitfield, thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First of all, Dr. Richard Whitfield, professor at the University of Georgia, professor of
philosophy.
For how long?
35 years. I came here in 1982.
And this sounds like obviously you're a professor of philosophy. That means there are philosophy students at UGA. It's probably not the top of who's taking philosophy classes at UGA these days?
Well, you have huge numbers of undergraduates, many who are not philosophy majors. You have distribution requirements that entail that people have to take a certain number of courses in philosophy or arts or religion. On the other hand, we do have philosophy majors.
And what do they do? What does a philosophy major do? I mean, if you got that degree, what am I going to do with it other than maybe teach?
I mean, the only thing that it can lead to, and exclusively lead to, would be to go on to philosophy graduate school, get a PhD, and on that basis you could try to get a job teaching philosophy at a university. But otherwise people will go on to anything under the sun, and I think that having that degree is recognized as an indication that they have experience in thinking about truth and justice, and that they can be competent in any other discipline.
To segue into your campaign for Congress, I know justice is one of the things you have stressed and will stress as you kick off your campaign. First of all, the campaign kickoff event tomorrow, step us through that.
Yeah, that's going to take place at 3 o'clock, and it's going to be at the East Athens Dance Educational Center, which is at 390 McKinley Street.
Richard Whitfield, Democratic candidate for Congress, running, we should say, in District 10. That is the seat that is held now by Republican Jody Hice, who's running for re-election. Now, he has primary opposition, does Jody Hice, or will have, assuming Joe Hunt in Watkinsville qualifies, get him in here maybe one morning next week. And there will be, assuming everybody qualifies, and we'll get around to that soon enough, at least 2 announced Democrats in this race. The other, Chalice Montgomery, we've had her on the program a few times here. Back up and talk about why you want to be in Congress.
Yeah, I want to be in Congress because I think we as a nation have failed to provide the social rights, and in particular, the right to have a job at fair wages.
Well, let's start right there. Where is that right? I read the Constitution. I don't see a right to employment in there. Where is it?
Exactly. Our Constitution pretty much focuses on our political and civil rights, and it leaves out rights that apply to what will allow us to exercise our freedom in this society.
Well, it looks at rights that don't impose obligations on other people. I have the right to free speech. My free speech does not take from your free speech, and it certainly doesn't pull money out of your wallet. If you say I have a right to a job, you're saying someone is obliged to hire me. How do we impose that obligation on someone else?
It's not an obligation on any particular other market agent. It's rather a right that, as any right, is something that we all have an opportunity to do. And in a sense, the basis of the American dream is that America is going to allow everyone who wants to work hard to make it, support their family. But by itself, the market never can be counted on to guarantee everyone the opportunity to work. There are millions of Americans who want to work, who can't find full-time employment. There are millions others who want to work full-time but can only find part-time employment.
So isn't that then subject on the economy, an improving economy, a growing economy, which, by the way, after fits and starts seems to be occurring now. The first time in the better part of a decade, we've had consecutive quarters of 3% growth in the GDP. I mean, what you say you want is contingent on economic growth, right?
Well, actually, full employment maximizes economic growth. And you can see that because if the government steps in and is able to offer jobs to anyone who can't find a job in the market, this is going to mean that we have the greatest consumer demand that is possible. It's going to also inoculate our economy against the ups and downs in consumer demand that have led to recessions and depressions.
So you're saying let the private sector do what the private sector will do, but the private sector can only get us so far, and after that the government steps in and provides employment, A, doing what, and B, paying how?
Okay. Well, doing what obviously is not a matter of giving just make work. And it's not a matter of duplicating what private enterprise is already doing. That would only exacerbate unemployment by producing overproduction. Rather, it's a matter of our government really showing that it's for, by, and of the people by offering people the opportunity to go to work and tackle the kinds of goods and services that our communities need, but that private enterprise currently is either willing or unable to provide.
Such as?
We know that our infrastructure is in terrible shape and needs refurbishing. We should offer jobs to people to fix it up. We also need a new green infrastructure if we're going to really tackle the problems of climate change. So we need to offer people the chance to construct and operate a green infrastructure, which now is really going to be one of the major sources of economic expansion. We also need, for example, to tackle the housing crisis that is particularly evident in our district, where we have a lot of dilapidated substandard housing. We have shortages of affordable housing. You know, I go around into some of the more far-flung districts, and I hear over and over again that communities have problems hiring people to teach in their schools because there's no affordable housing. We can put people to work, offer them jobs to refurbish substandard housing, build affordable housing. There's a crisis of transportation in the towns and rural districts. You know, people who don't have a car or who no longer can drive are stranded. They can't see friends, can't go to doctors, can't go to work. We need to do something to help provide genuine public transportation. We need to offer the kinds of services people are lacking.
Now, here's the $20 trillion question for all this. Richard Winfield, candidate